So big fans of the Sauce podcast with Sother and Tim McCurdy, and it inspired me to make French onion soup the restaurant guy's way. So let's get sauced. So we have a couple of departures here from the sauced instructions. Number one is I found, even though I have a very large Creuset pan, I needed to employ a second pan to get 6 pounds of onions all reducing at the same time. That's fine. The other thing that's a little unusual is that I do, that they don't mention, is at this point, because there's such a volume of onion in each pan, I put this top on the pan and I'll let it sweat for a little while. Obviously what we're trying to do is get the water off of the onion, so we don't want to leave the tops on long term. But what I'll do is I'll leave it on for about 10 minutes or so, and that will get all of the onions hot, because in a pan like this, when there's such a volume of onions, I find that the onions on the top aren't fully heated like the onions on the bottom of the pan are engaged when the top of the pan they're not. So 10 minutes of this, I think, accelerates the whole process and gets everything hot. So my two pans are proceeding at slightly different paces. I have just a bigger burner on this, so I'm on a smaller burner here, but we'll get there eventually. It smells very good in my house. Well, it took just about 45 minutes exactly to get this where I want them. When I cook this down to the soup, I'm going to combine them in one pot. You can see how much I've reduced. But the nice thing about this is that I've got 2 pans worth of fond, so I think that's going to enhance the richness of the soup and the depth of the soup, I hope. So we'll do this. We'll scrape off the fond. We'll get this all incorporated, and we'll get them together in one pot. So I added a little more off camera of the brandy, but you see that I've used it to scrape all the fond off the pot. That's now all incorporated with the onions. We'll combine the two and add the broth. So this is pretty much exactly what I want my onions to look like at this point. And there you can taste the sweetness. And also the roastedness. It's not just sweet. It's from the roasting. It's delicious. And that's exactly what I want them to look like. That's exactly the consistency I want them in. So at this point I'm going to turn up the heat. I'm going to throw in, so ideally it would be beef stock. But this is a dish you make with what's at hand. So I have some beef broth. And I have some beef bone broth. So I'm hoping there's a little more collagen in that, and that will make a richer stock. So we'll see. So we're gonna bring this up, turn the temperature up high, and get it on a simmer. Throw in our bouquet garni, and we'll see what happens. Now this is clearly whatever you have at hand, as long as you got the onions, lots of non-perishable stuff. I'm going to be adding some dry vermouth, and what I'm doing here is a little melange of 2 different dry vermouths, because I'm just about out of both of them. I'll use that to finish off the 2 bottles, and then I'll have Dolan left to make my martinis with, and I'll have to get some more vermouth in. But this is it. We'll see in about 30 minutes of simmering, and we'll talk about beverage. So now it is the Sauced podcast, of course, and like Sother and Tim, restaurant guys are old bartenders at heart, so beverage is a very important part of what we do. With French onion soup, I think of nothing better than a Côte du Rhône. Here's a Stéphanie Augier, Le Temps est venu. Don't know what that means exactly, but it's a delicious wine, and that's what I've been drinking while cooking the onion soup, and that's what I'll be drinking when I have the onion soup in just a moment. Okay, so here's a bit of a cheat. As I taste this, it's quite sweet from the onions, which is great, but as I suspected, because I used just beef broth and not stock, even with the addition of bone broth, it's not quite beefy enough, so it's all just sweet onions. So I'm gonna cheat again. I always keep this in my cabinet at home. It's a little shelf-stable demi-glace made from beef and veal stock. throw in just that much, and I'll stir that around. Hold on, so I'll use about just this much of it. And that's gonna get me to the level of beefiness I need by the time this reduces all the way down. So here's your big cheat. So this is what it's supposed to look like. I love the texture and the color. It took about 35 minutes to get where I wanted. You want to taste throughout because, believe it or not, there's there's a little bit of reduction that happens, and also it kind of marries together, and you get that full taste that you want with it. It develops kind of a backbone over time. If you pull it off too early, it's just sweet onions. It tastes like it should go on a cheesesteak. Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Great job, sauce guys. I like the breadcrumbs to be like, I forget whether it was Sother or Tim who said you want to make sure they can fit on a spoon. You know, you don't want them slipping off the spoon. And then an embarrassing amount of Gruyere, an absurd amount of cheese. Big cheese head. Okay, let's pop it in the oven and see what happens. And here's the finished product. Oh yeah, it's the right amount of pull. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right, great job, sauce guys. Let's see. So we got, right, see, it doesn't swish, it'd be all sticky. We wouldn't be able to cut it. It's perfect. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right. Sauce guys, soup turned out great. Hope you like my little additions to it. Little Côte du Rhône. And what do we say? Let's get sauce. Great stuff.